The movie opens with a woman named Shelby, carefully getting ready while wearing a blonde wig. She watches a video of an Instagram influencer, Nikki, sharing tips on how to spice up a relationship. In another room, her boyfriend, Cyrus, is also watching the same video with great interest. Later, Shelby approaches Cyrus, but catches him pleasuring himself while watching dirty movies on his laptop. Despite her disappointment, she tries to seduce him, but Cyrus shows no enthusiasm, resulting in an argument between the two. In the next scene, the couple heads to the reunion party of their college friend, Ruben, who is getting married tomorrow. During the drive, Shelby scrolls through Nikki's Instagram profile, and we learn that she's also part of their friend group. She notices her huge likes count, and even Cyrus has liked and commented on all of Nikki's posts, which disappoints her. Shelby also posts a photo of herself, but soon deletes it when she doesn't get more than 3 likes. Shortly after, the couple makes their way to a large mansion in a remote area. Shelby finds it strange that Ruben's fiancée won't be joining them tonight, but Cyrus doesn't see it as a big deal. The couple then enters the mansion, where they are excitedly greeted by their friend Dennis. Other group members are also present, including Nikki, Maya, and Brooke. While Shelby chats with the girls, Cyrus heads to the balcony and meets Ruben. However, he is shocked to learn that Ruben has invited their estranged friend, Forbes, as well. But Ruben clarifies that although he sent an invitation, Forbes never responded. Meanwhile, the girls start talking about Forbes, revealing that he and Dennis had a major altercation at a college party. At the time, Forbes had brought his younger sister, Beatrice, who was still in high school. She was obsessed with Dennis, but he was already dating Nikki. When Beatrice saw them together, she lost control and attacked Nikki. The situation escalated into a huge fight between Forbes and Dennis, until the police arrived to intervene. In the aftermath, Dennis was arrested, and Forbes was expelled for bringing his underage sister to the party and making her drunk. Beatrice was then admitted to a mental hospital, while Forbes relocated to California to work for a tech company. It has been 8 years since then, and no one has heard from him. After all the gossiping, the group sits down for dinner, during which Cyrus continues to gaze at Nikki, making his girlfriend jealous. Ruben, on the other hand, appears to be particularly interested in Maya, despite being engaged to someone else. He then begins giving a heartfelt speech about how grateful he is to have everyone gather on his special day. But then, it shockingly turns out to be a weird Forbes, who has come with a suitcase in hand. After exchanging greetings and hugs, Forbes sits down with his old friends, who are delighted to see him. They wonder what he has brought in the suitcase, to which he reveals that it is a fun game they can play. Moreover, Forbes says what he is about to show must be kept secret, as he and his friends have been working on this thing for 5 years. He then opens the suitcase to reveal a machine containing many buttons, wires, and switches. Forbes hands out a pair of electrodes to each person, and instructs them to place them on their temples. After the group obliges, Forbes suddenly flips a switch, and everyone in the room begins to freak out for some reason. Seconds later, he flips another switch, and everything returns to normal. Here, we find out it is a body-swapping machine, which allows people to exchange consciousness temporarily. The group is stunned by this strange experience, and cannot believe such a machine even exists. Next, Forbes tells them about a game where they all swap bodies, and then have to guess who is in whose body. He explains the rules, starting with everyone taking a Polaroid of themselves. If a person correctly guesses who someone is, their photo is pinned to their body and eliminated from the round. But if someone makes the wrong guess, they must reveal their true identity, and are eliminated. Forbes also mentions that because he is the game developer, he will know their identities and cannot make any guesses. After explaining all the rules, Forbes flips a switch on the machine, and the first round begins. Brooke immediately starts to panic, and Cyrus correctly guesses that it's Shelby, knowing she is an anxious person. She then pins her photo on Brooke's body, eliminated. Then, the person in Ruben's body declares he has a way to figure out which one of them is Ruben. He begins unzipping his pants, which causes Cyrus to become enraged, revealing that he is the real Ruben. Next, The person inside Nikki's body says a phrase that only Maya uses, exposing her identity as well. Dennis then calls Shelby by the nickname Shelbo, and the others guess he must be Cyrus. He also admits it, but this confuses the real Cyrus, who is in Ruben's body. Afterward, Cyrus, who is in Ruben's body, approaches Dennis, and discovers that he's actually Forbes. He asks why he lied to the group, but Forbes says it's no big deal, and tells him to enjoy this new experience. Following this, Cyrus pretends to be Forbes in Ruben's body, and wanders around until he comes across a room filled with mirrors. There, he meets Maya, who is inside Nikki's body. She is upset that Ruben is getting married, because they used to date quite a while ago. She begins seducing him despite knowing he is not the real Ruben. Cyrus also plays along since he has a thing for Nikki. The two start making out, but are forced to stop when Cyrus accidentally cuts himself on a sharp piece of glass. He screams in pain, prompting whoever is inside Maya's body to arrive and see if everything is okay. Next, Cyrus continues to wander around, and notices Shelby with Ruben, who is inside Cyrus's body. He is jealous to see them dancing together, and Shelby remarks that her real boyfriend is not usually this fun. Shelby then begins making fun of Cyrus's porn addiction, unaware that Cyrus is right in front of her. This enrages him, so he demands that they stop. And so, everyone gathers in the living room and switches back to their original bodies. They are all ecstatic about the bizarre experience, and demand a second round. Meanwhile, Dennis approaches Forbes privately to apologize for what happened 8 years ago. He also reveals that he, and Ruben, were responsible for Forbes' expulsion back then. Forbes is surprised that Ruben was involved, but claims that he doesn't mind and has moved past it. Next, the group gathers for the second round, but Cyrus says he doesn't want to play anymore because he has a headache. Dennis is annoyed by this, which leads to a huge argument between them. Shelby then takes her boyfriend aside, and advises him not to overreact to everything. Here, Cyrus claims he's uncomfortable with the game, and reveals that Forbes lied in the first round by pretending to be him. Shelby doesn't think it's a big deal, and eventually convinces him to play. But Cyrus has one condition: in the next round, they will stroke their eyebrows to recognize one another. After this, they rejoin the group, and Shelby shows interest in learning how the machine operates, so Forbes teaches her. They then begin the second round. And as soon as the switch is flipped, Forbes strokes his brow, indicating that he's Cyrus. Meanwhile, Shelby finds herself in Nikki's body, and excitedly posts a photo on Instagram to enjoy the validation. She then looks in the mirror and is thrilled to see how attractive she has become. Elsewhere, Brooke, Dennis, and Shelby's bodies decide not to reveal their identities, and instead enjoy the mystery. Dennis then approaches Maya, and we quickly realize he is Ruben, who wants to hook up with her. He invites her to hang out on the roof, even though he has no idea who she is underneath. Meanwhile, Cyrus strokes his eyebrow at several girls to find Shelby, but no one responds. He soon hears Nikki freaking out over spiders, and realizes that this is his girlfriend. Cyrus takes her to the greenhouse for a private conversation, and insists that she reveal her identity. She initially refuses, but eventually gives in and admits that she's Shelby. Soon, she begins seducing him, suggesting that they do fun roleplay in other people's bodies. Cyrus agrees, and the two begin making love. He casually calls her Nikki, but freaks out and loses interest when she refers to him as Forbes. On the other hand, we see Dennis and Maya getting intimate on the roof. As we know, Dennis is actually Ruben, and he's only doing this because he has feelings for the real Maya. We then realize that the woman is actually Brooke, who knows this is Ruben and likes him. Returning to the greenhouse, Cyrus interrupts his intimate session, and accuses Shelby of wanting to be with Forbes rather than him. He declares that he's done with the game and walks out of there. Soon, we see Ruben and Brooke accidentally fall, and the group is distracted by the loud thud. They step outside, and are horrified to discover Dennis and Maya's bodies have accidentally fallen from the roof and are impaled on a sculpture. This means that the actual Ruben and Brooke are dead, while Maya and Dennis remain trapped in other people's bodies. Following this, they finally reveal to each other who's in whose body during round 2. Dennis is inside Cyrus, Maya is inside Shelby, Forbes is inside Ruben, and Nikki is inside Brooke. Meanwhile, Cyrus is in Forbes' body, and Shelby is in Nikki's body, as we already know. Everyone begins to freak out, and Dennis demands his body back, but Forbes tells him it's impossible because the real body is already dead. Amid the chaos, Nikki intends to call the police, fearing that they will be wrongfully arrested, but Forbes stops her, claiming that his machine is top secret, and should not fall into the hands of the police. Next, Cyrus suggests that everyone return to the mansion and swap bodies, but Dennis and Maya refuse because they no longer have their original bodies to return to. This doesn't sit well with Cyrus, leading to an argument between him and Dennis. During their heated conversation, Dennis admits that he cheated on Nikki with Beatrice while they were in college, and Cyrus told Nikki about it. Cyrus then tried to pursue Nikki, but she turned him down. He eventually dated Shelby as a backup plan, although he never truly loved her. This devastates poor Shelby, and so Cyrus begins to insult Dennis, calling him a spoiled brat who lives on his parents' money. Upon hearing this, an enraged Dennis calls the cops while pretending to be Cyrus, and reveals how he pushed his two friends off the roof. At the same time, they notice Forbes is nowhere to be seen, and they soon spot him in Ruben's body running away with the suitcase. But fortunately, Nikki knocks him out. She and Cyrus drag the unconscious guy inside and plan to switch bodies before the cops arrive. The group then turns to Shelby for help since she is the only one who can operate the machine apart from Forbes. But the problem arises when Shelby refuses to do it, as she doesn't want to leave Nikki's hot body. This leads to an argument, during which Nikki slaps Shelby hard. The latter then storms off in rage, while the others tie up the unconscious Forbes to prevent him from escaping again. Not long after, Cyrus finds Shelby and Maya in the room full of mirrors. He apologizes to Shelby, explaining that he used to have a crush on Nikki in college but not anymore. He says that he wants to be with her, and begs her to switch their bodies back. This heartfelt speech almost works, but Maya suddenly recalls how he cut himself in round one here, in the mirror room. She then blurts out that they hooked up when she was inside Nikki's body, and he pretended to be Forbes. Upon hearing this, Shelby gets even angrier and refuses to cooperate with him. Elsewhere, Nikki wakes up Forbes, and tries to convince him to operate the machine. But she is interrupted by Shelby, who threatens to ruin Nikki's career by posting a damaging video if she doesn't walk out. The influencer has no choice but to leave, after which Shelby begins plotting with Forbes. At this point, Forbes tells her what he would do if he were in her position. Shortly after, Shelby speaks with Cyrus privately, and gives him a choice. She tells him that if he wants to return to their original bodies, she will do it. However, she also knows he has always wanted Nikki deep down, so there's a second option. She will stay as Nikki, and he can take Ruben's body. They can run away together and start a new life, while Dennis, who is currently in Cyrus's body, will deal with the cops. Elsewhere, Nikki approaches Forbes and demands to know what's going on, so the latter reveals Shelby's plan to hijack her body forever. Nikki then unties Forbes and pleads with him to switch everyone back to their original bodies. On the other hand, Cyrus agrees to his girlfriend's second option, so that he can be with Nikki's body. Soon enough, they hear police sirens approaching, and Shelby proceeds to operate the machine. But then, Nikki arrives with some peanut butter and smears it on Shelby, knowing that her own body is deathly allergic to it. While Shelby is struggling to breathe, Nikki reveals she has an EpiPen, but will only give it to her if they allow Forbes to operate the machine. Cyrus demands for the EpiPen, while Forbes switches some wires and announces that the machine is set to go. Meanwhile, Dennis is shocked by the alert that his trust fund account has been emptied, and he accuses Cyrus of the theft. Here Nikki finally gives Shelby the EpiPen, while the cops also burst into the house, just as Forbes activates the machine. The next morning, we meet Forbes' sister, Beatrice, who is hurriedly on her way somewhere. She soon arrives at Ruben's wedding, which has been called off, and notices his distraught fiancée. Beatrice then spots Forbes in the distance, and immediately attacks him, demanding to know where her suitcase is. And so, the person inside Forbes reveals that he is actually Dennis. He asks Beatrice what she is doing there, to which she responds that she is not who he believes she is. In a shocking twist, it's revealed that the person they thought was Forbes last night, was actually Beatrice. At this point, we learn that Beatrice and Dennis had hooked up several times while she was still in high school. But Dennis denied their relationship, and told everyone that Beatrice was just a delusional and crazy girl. At one party, a drunken Beatrice freaked out when she saw Dennis and Nikki together, resulting in a manic episode. She was thus admitted to a mental hospital, and her brother Forbes was expelled. When Forbes returned from California years later, he visited Beatrice and showed her the machine he had invented, hoping it would help them reconnect. But she used the machine to swap their bodies, and attacked him. She then headed to Ruben's party to seek revenge on Dennis and everyone else involved. Dennis is shocked to hear all of this, and Forbes asks what happened to everyone else. In another scene, we see Cyrus in jail for the murders, when Shelby arrives to meet him. It turns out that the two had been returned to their original bodies. Cyrus requests her help in speaking with the cops to prove his innocence, but she flatly refuses. He begins to wonder whether she is the real Shelby, but she assures him that she is. Meanwhile, Dennis informs Forbes that Beatrice messed up with the final machine usage last night, causing everything to spiral out of control. Nikki ended up in Ruben's body, while Maya is now in Brooke's body. The scene then cuts to Cyrus, who explains how the cops are accusing him of stealing Dennis' money and transferring it to an offshore account. He knows that Forbes is responsible for this, and begs for Shelby's help. However, a flashback reveals that it was actually Beatrice who stole the money from Dennis' phone. She is now in Nikki's body, having escaped with Forbes' machine and Dennis' entire fortune. In the final scene, Cyrus once again begs his girlfriend for help in getting out of jail. However, she admits that when she gave him two choices last night, it was just a test to find out if he really loved her. She reveals it was Forbes who gave her the idea, and since Cyrus failed the test and wanted Nikki's body, she is happy to let him rot in jail. And this is where the movie ends.